There seems to be a clear pattern here, and according to Elon Musk, there is a clear pattern in all of the school shootings that we have been seeing, and I agree with him. There's way too many school shootings that are happening. There should be none, and another one happened today, and there's a lot of weird and demonic things that came along with it. So, what happened? Where did it happen? I'm sure you heard a lot of it by now, but this took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at a Catholic church called Annunciation. This was done by a 23-year-old Robin Westman, and check this out. Previously, Robert Westman identifies as transgender, and per court records, Robin Westman's parents signed off on this when he was just a minor. His mother used to work at Annunciation, the school/church he shot up, and he attended it himself when he was just a little boy. Robin Westman, on the first day of Annunciation school, fired through the windows of a church in Minnesota this morning. He killed 2 children, ages 8 and 10. Just imagine the scene. No kid should have to go through this. 14 other children were wounded while marking the first week of class. Now, thank God, as I'm reporting right now, it seems all the other people injured will survive, but this is still horrific. The FBI identified the shooter, who is dead, Robin Westman, 23 years old, and the suspect graduated from the school in 2017, according to a yearbook. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said Westman released a manifesto on YouTube that included some disturbing writings. And disturbing writings is an understatement, and that's what we're about to get into. I don't know if I can show you the video in itself, but I'm going to show you a lot of the screenshots that are floating around the internet. I don't know if I can show you the video because it already got scrubbed off of YouTube, so take a look at this. One of the first things in the video is that there was target practice, and on the head of the target was Jesus Christ. Now, this is one of the things that made me most upset. I mean, this is demonic, and we're going to get to this demonic part in a little bit, but this is demonic. I don't know how. Oh, man. Anyway, next, you're going to see where is your God on his ammo. It says, where is your God? And he shot up a church, and he has target practice of Jesus Christ. You can see that there's a clear agenda. I think there is some demonic influence in this attack. Next, you can see kill Donald Trump on his ammo, and it's written multiple times, actually, kill Donald Trump. And there's a lot of other weird things that he says, like suck on this, and F this, F everything, F that, whatever it is. And then you can see there is a list of a bunch of names. I'm sure many of you know who these names are, and I'll put a screenshot, but it's a list of a lot of big shootings that happened and who committed them. He also wrote a handwritten manifesto. I don't know if we can read this. I don't know if we want to read this, but this is the first page of it. It's a message to his friends and family. Here's one thing that I really want to look at, and it's a picture that he drew. Now, this is where I think the demonic influence really played a part, because this whole thing has a God and spirituality theme. I think everything in this life is a spiritual warfare. Take a look at this. It's a picture of him. He has his gun on his back. He looks in the mirror, and there's a picture of a demon. I mean, this is a really, really dark picture. And there's written letters and words in Russian. Now, if we translate them, it says who, or who am I believe. When will this end? Help me. I don't want to. I'm guessing that's the devil saying I don't want to, or whoever he's talking to. He's saying help again, and then the devil says end yourself. What are we even looking at? How come every time there's a school shooting or a disaster like this, someone gets murdered, there's always some type of manifesto, there's always some type of agenda, there's always some type of meaning, there's always so many cryptic messages? Is it problems at home? Is it mental illness that's not being treated? Whatever it is, it needs to stop. This is happening way too often in the past couple years. Kids should not go through what they just did at that church today. Take a look at this interview and look what this kid said.
What happened with him? Is he okay?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be okay. And then my friend, he was like laying on top of me, like making sure I was safe, and he got hit. So that was really brave of him.
And you have a neck on your neck?
Yeah, that was, I don't even know what it's from. Kind of looks like debris or something.
But that came from during this?
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You seem pretty put together here, but it's got to be tough.
Yeah, I'm just like confused.
And to my conspiracy theorists, do not say that interview was scripted. Let's give him a day off. Let him breathe. Those kids went through way too much, and my thoughts and prayers are with them all. But speaking of thoughts and prayers, according to the mayor and according to some major news outlets, thoughts and prayers, what do you mean? That's not enough. Those don't work. Check this out.
Don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance.
Official, you are on the ground with your folks and you appreciate this journey. I agree with the mayor. I'm not, the thoughts and prayers, I'm so beyond that nonsense, the lie of that. Because what we have are people who continue to stand in the way of actually doing something to stop the violence against their own kids. It is amazing to me. We watch young kids die in classrooms and now in church, and all we get are thoughts and prayers.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a spiritual warfare. Thoughts and prayers, we don't want that. That's all we get. What do you want? People are giving your thoughts and prayers. In a situation like this, prayer is one of the strongest things that you can receive, especially when this man looks like he was demonically possessed. He had a target of Jesus Christ on his head, even if he didn't have all of that. You're rejecting thoughts and prayers out of all the things you could be talking about. Of course it's sad, and of course it feels like that's not enough, especially if your family or you are a victim of this. But saying that is absolutely wild to me. And now the whole other discussion, people are talking about transgender. The mayor starts going off. Everyone stop attacking transgender. Do not make this about the transgenders. Check this out. I apologize about the quality in advance.
Compassion. I don't want to tiptoe around the edge of this, but you know, the shooter's name was in question, the gender of the shooter. No one's really sure what's going on there. 5 years ago it was Robert, then a name change to Robin. Okay, this is being seized in all corners, as you can imagine, in all sorts of ways. And you know that, Mayor, and perhaps that's why when you spoke about this so profoundly and powerfully as you are even here now, but when you spoke about this today publicly, you voiced concern for the transgender community, for the community overall. And obviously, you chose to do that in that moment because you thought it was important. And I wanted to give you a chance to say why you felt it was important to do that in that moment.
Obviously, I've heard about the rhetoric and the narrative that is being pushed out, but here's the thing. Anybody that is going to use this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any community has lost touch with a common humanity. We got to be operating not out of hate for any group, but out of a love for our children. That's where the focus needs to be right now. A love for our kids, seeing these kids not just as somebody else's kids, this horrific thing happened, but what if it was our own? How would we feel then? So, look, we need to be standing up for every community out there, a Catholic community too, by the way. I mean, any community that suffers this kind of blow, our Minneapolis community, you got to stand up for them. But, you know, I feel oftentimes in these instances there's this desire to villainize a group. You want to call this an act of cowardice? Do it, because it is. But regardless of what group or background, gender, you know, the bottom line is that kids got killed. Let's love each other more. Let's love each other more, because the antidote to hate is not more hate. Hurt people, and the antidote to hate is a whole lot more love. That's where we all need to be going right now.
Well, Mayor Fry, I'm grateful to you for taking the time and sharing that. And thank you. Thank you for being with me.
Before you formulate your thoughts on that, I want you to watch this.
So a suicidal transgender who hates Trump's Christians and Jews shoots up kids at a Catholic school, and the media wants to take away your handgun. So how are we supposed to protect ourselves from trans shooters? The media is bad at pattern recognition. We aren't. Just 2 years ago, another trans 20-something walked into a Christian school in Nashville with a rifle and shot 3 kids and 3 adults. They buried the manifesto and locked down the case. We've seen trans shootings in Colorado and in Maryland. They even shot up an ICE facility in Texas. And it seems like half of Antifa's trans. A couple of they-thems just got popped for firebombing Teslas. The mayor of Minneapolis says, you can't say that.
Anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity. We should not be operating out of a place of hate for anyone. We should be operating from a place of love for our kids.
I don't hate anyone who thinks they're trans. I feel sorry for them. But statistically, the trans population has been prone to violence. That's not villainizing, that's reality. And if you can't recognize reality, you're in danger. We love the American people, especially American children. And if they're troubled and believe they're somehow a girl trapped in a boy's body, we want to get them help. We don't want to give them hormones and operate on them. Society shouldn't be trying to produce more trans kids. We shouldn't be encouraging an emotional disorder or whatever this is. And doctors should stop profiting from it. Great Britain ended child sex change surgeries. They said it's barbaric, and they're right. And politicians should stop elevating the trans issue like it's the civil rights struggle of the 21st century. You see it all over Minneapolis.
Minneapolis will continue to be a safe haven for our trans community.
For being a safe haven for transgender individuals.
We have sued them for gender-affirming care. Yes, we are not going to scapegoat our transgender community.
When our children tell us who they are, it is our job as grown-ups to listen and to believe them.
So when your 9-year-old tells you he's a horse, do you let him sleep out in the barn and eat hay? What are we doing here? Just a few years ago, the psychiatric community classified transgenderism as a mental illness. Then doctors went woke and removed it as a condition, and now millions of young Americans are identifying themselves as trans and getting high fives. When someone has an illness, we should treat it instead of affirm it. We don't celebrate schizophrenia. We don't encourage depression. Teenagers are confused. Sometimes these things are just a phase. And if they're not, all right, then a grown man can wear a dress. If he wants to do that in America, he has that right. We're a pretty darn tolerant society. But the left's weaponizing trans kids and turning them into culture warriors. And they've been turned loose against the church, schools, and Trump. You see it, I see it. The trans clan has a militant wing, and it's out for blood. They're taking lives, defiling churches, and freaking everybody out. And some politicians are doing more to protect shooters like Westman than soft targets like schools. In 2023, private schools in Minnesota begged Governor Walz to fund more school safety. They told him it was an urgent and critical need. Minnesota had an $18 billion budget surplus, but the governor didn't do it. Instead, he turned Minnesota into a trans sanctuary. And his attorney general, Keith Ellison, sued Trump so they can keep castrating little boys. Tim Walz failed. Our leaders keep failing us. They failed us during COVID, on trade, on immigration. They say they care about kids, but they locked them down and oversaw an obesity and chronic disease epidemic. And now there's a growing trans epidemic, and they won't even admit it, just like crime. They created a crisis and then lie about it and blame you for not being compassionate. But their fake compassion is getting people killed.
I mean, talk about a mic drop. You see the governor saying these things about transgender, and then when you hear that, I mean, the guy's not wrong. This is more than just a school shooting. There are problems going on in this world that are not getting enough attention, and when they don't get enough attention, this happens. Let me know what you guys think about what happened. My thoughts and prayers are with everyone involved, and I truly mean that. That's not a joke. Just absolutely horrible news. I love you all, and I'll see you next time.